So please welcome back on stage Dan and Kraig, the demo masters.
Thanks, Alex. Well, it's truly a pleasure to be able to demonstrate Service Cloud 2. This is the most exciting demonstration of the day because it really shows you what's possible and how the web is really changing customer service. Let's go ahead and bring up the demo, if we could. Now, what you can see here on the screen is a customer service agent who's just logged into the Service Cloud. Customer service agent at Dell. Of course, Dell serves companies of many sizes, wide variety of products. And let's start with a really simple example today. Mark Nolan, who's a customer service agent at Dell, is fielding inbound inquiries through a variety of channels. You can see those functions represented at the top of the screen. Phone, email, chat, customer service cases, monitoring Twitter conversations, monitoring discussions on the Facebook fan page for the company. But first, as a simple example, let's take a traditional channel, the phone. What happens when a telephone call comes into the call center at Dell? Well, of course, the Service Cloud is integrated to the telephony system of the company. So we get a screen pop. The phone rings right inside the application. We know immediately who we're talking to. In this case, it's a woman named Jill Peters, who lives right here in New York. And Jill is asking a really simple question today. How do I upgrade the memory on my Dell XPS laptop? Of course, we've got an integrated customer service application, so the agent can see all the previous cases, the ongoing sales cycles, all the products that she's purchased. And we simply create what's called a new case. It's the core object of the Service Cloud. And now, because we've got an integrated knowledge base, thanks to the acquisition of Alex's company, right here on the screen, we search the knowledge base for articles. The system automatically starts recommending the most relevant answer to this customer's question. We can see that right there at the top of the screen, or we could sort it or filter it. We can drill right into the knowledge article. You can see that the answer to this question about the memory upgrade can contain graphics or video even, or rich media. And when we've got the right article, all we have to do as a service agent is attach that back to the customer case. With one click, go back to the case. The knowledge article is right there on the screen, and as an agent, we could relay this information over the telephone to our customer, or we could email it to them so they could print it out and follow the step-by-step directions. And our customer issue has been solved, and we simply close out the case. But that's not the way customer service is really happening anymore. Yes, people do place calls into the call center, but if you had that problem, where would you go first? You'd probably go right here, to Google. Because Google has trained us that it will guide us to the answer. And because the Service Cloud and that knowledge base can be exposed on the public web, on your public support website, for the first time ever, that system that was previously only exposed to the people behind the telephone who are wearing the headset, that system can now be exposed to the public internet. This is a dramatic shift that we could search Google, and the organic search listings from Google could guide our users to our public support website where our knowledge base is exposed. Our knowledge base isn't locked behind the four walls of a company and it's only available to the people in the call center. It's available now to the web, and this is the dramatic shift that people want to go to the web to ask their questions. People don't want to pick up the telephone. They want to do things in a self-service manner. They want to find this information on your website, and of course, they want self-service. So we can expand our public support website to include a customer portal where a user could actually log in, change their account, manage their cases, track their own information, all on the web. This is all provided by Service Cloud 2. But that was a really simple example. A common question that Dell receives probably thousands of times a day. How do I upgrade the memory on my laptop? But a lot of support cases are not just one and done. They're actually complex. We're solving real customer problems. So if we bring back up the Service Cloud, the great thing is that Chatter provides that next level of capability. How do you collaborate inside of your company as a service agent to resolve customer issues? And Chatter is the next generation. Now Mark Nolan, the service agent at Dell, can just expand his Chatter feed, and he can keep tabs on everything that's important to him across the company in customer service. It works just like I showed you in the Sales Cloud, but the use cases are vastly different. The service agent wants to follow people in the marketing team. You can see that right there at the top of the screen. Because when pricing changes, or products are introduced, or promotions happen, that causes a flurry of activity across the service organization. The service agent also wants to keep track of products and knowledge articles. So when the product changes, or something breaks, or something gets fixed, they're on top of it, and they can service their customers through all the channels. And of course, you can see people dialoguing right here inside of Chatter. Service agents want to follow their top customers. And if a customer has been upgraded to Platinum support, we now have a new service level to support that customer. And of course, we want to be aware of that. I mentioned that you could stream information in from the web. In this case, we're just showing an example of how shipping delays by UPS could cause customer aggravation, and that has an impact on the service organization. But the core object of customer service is the case, solving the customer's problem. And here what you can see in the middle of the screen is you can see the case is chattering. The case is telling me as a service agent that we've crossed a critical milestone and that we need to act. And of course, we can drill right from the chatter feed, as I previously mentioned, right into the case. And now what would we do here on the screen when we look at the case? We can see all the information about this customer's case. This customer is an important one. They've got a service level agreement where we have said as an organization, we will solve your problem within 24 hours. And in the middle of the screen, you can see that we've crossed a milestone. We've not been able to reproduce this customer's issue. And you can see at the top that the customer's issue is getting their XPS laptops, their 1,000 laptops for their sales organization, working with these new Dell mini projectors and getting the right output of resolution. And we can't reproduce this issue as the service agent. Typically in a service organization, this would mean some form of escalation. We can look at the chatter feed and we can see all the activity that's happened on this particular case. We logged it, the sales rep jumped in and said we've got a deal. Somebody else in our service organization is sharing pictures and documentation, and we're collaborating trying to resolve this customer's issue, but yet we can't. And at the top of the screen, you can see there are 3 people following this case in chatter. Myself, Josh in the support organization, and Laura, the sales rep. Well, the great thing about the Service Cloud is it's built on Force.com, our platform, which means it's integrated to the workflow system and it's integrated into chatter. So what do? Let's go ahead and escalate this case. Let's escalate it to our second level of support, our second level of management. When we click this escalate button, what's going to happen is we're going to kick off the business process and the workflow for Dell. And now what you're going to see when you expand the chatter feed, check this out. 4 additional people have just been added to the chatter feed. The workflow of the system automatically caused additional people to be added to the chatter feed. And now we've got our Tier 2 support agent, we've got Elliot, the engineer, we've got Viviana, the QA person, we've got Eric, the product manager. And what do they see now? After we click this escalate button, they get added to chatter. Let's go ahead and bring up the second screen. Let's see Elliot's screen. Now Elliot, the engineer, at Dell, when Elliot logs into Salesforce and expands his chatter feed, or he's on his iPad, or he's on his BlackBerry, or he's on his iPhone from anywhere in the world, he gets notified immediately in real time in his stream that he has to act on a critical support case. And of course, he can drill into the support case and have a look. He's empowered, of course, as the engineer to solve this customer's problem. He can drill into the chatter feed and he sees the entire stream of activity. He doesn't have to place phone calls and send emails to figure out what happened. It's all right here inside of the Service Cloud. And now Elliot is empowered to deliver the fix. In this case, it's a fix with the driver, the software that makes the laptop work with this Dell mini projector. And when he codes the fix and issues the fix, he can just share that in the feed. Let's go ahead and split that screen so you can see this happen once again. You can see that when Elliot issues the fix, which could be a PDF document, or he could pull it out of content, or he could pull it off of his file system, or he could type it into the chatter feed. As soon as Elliot shares that fix, everybody else who's working on that customer support case sees it immediately, which means the QA person can pick it up and test it. The product manager is now aware, and the customer service agent, most importantly, can close this case and solve this customer's problem. Typically, what we would do here on the case is we would close out the case and send the update to the customer. But of course, as a service organization, what we would do as an agent is we would take this information and populate it into the knowledge base. Because as soon as it's in the knowledge base, it's everywhere. It's through every channel, through the telephone, through the portal, through Google, through Facebook, and it's accessible now through the hottest area of customer service this year, which is Twitter. So let's go ahead and take a look at Twitter. There are so many Twitter users in the room. I saw you all raise your hand. And this is really what's happening in 2010, is that when people have issues with your products or services, they're not just calling support or going to your website. They're telling the world that they're having issues with your products, and they're telling them publicly on Twitter. And Twitter, of course, is accessible through the web browser, but as a cloud computing company themselves, it's accessible everywhere. There are thousands of Twitter users using applications on the iPad and now on the iPhone and on the BlackBerry. So if we can bring up one of those, you can see here that we've got the iPhone. And then there's numerous Twitter clients for the iPhone. We're using any one of them here. Let's just go ahead and tweet right from the iPhone. So let's tweet that we're having an issue, the same exact issue with the Dell XPS laptop and one of these mini projectors, and the resolution isn't working. And of course, what people are doing now is they're taking pictures of the problem. Dan's going to take a picture of this mini projector right here, and these cell phones that we're all carrying in our pockets, they're GPS aware, so they know where we are. People are sharing images, they're sharing geolocations, and they're sharing content with the world about your products and services. So as soon as we tweet this from the iPhone, here on the 3G network, of course what you can see on Twitter, Twitter's real time. You can see right here on the Twitter screen, as soon as our man Dan Benson just refreshes his homepage on Twitter, you can see his Twitter feed, and you'll see that jump into the page as soon as it registers on the Twitter servers. There it is, just popped into the top of the page. So you can see here, Dan is saying, can't output the normal resolution on my mini projector with my XPS laptop. Now, what just happened there? He told everybody on the web, everybody who's following him, that he's having this issue. But what does Dell know? Well, Dell is running the Service Cloud. And as a result, they're tapped into this conversation in real time as it's happening on Twitter. Let's have a look. Let's go ahead and bring up the Service Cloud at Dell. And now we clicked on this tab called Twitter Conversations. We're monitoring the conversations that are happening on Twitter in real time. Here are all the conversations that we're seeing here on the screen. Normally, we would route these to different agents across the company, so we can filter this list to just look at the list for the mini projectors if we're a service agent that just handles those. And what's this on the screen? That's the tweet that we just saw out on Twitter. We pulled it into the Service Cloud, and we've automatically routed it to the right person and created a case. Now, as we open up this case, what you can see is we've got all the information. This is something that's really cool. That picture that Dan just took of you all in the audience here in New York City, it's now in the Service Cloud. It went from the iPhone to Twitter, and from Twitter to the Service Cloud, routed to the agent, and now the agent can actually take a look at this customer's problem right from their iPhone. And it's geo-aware. Where did this customer take this picture? How about the Sheraton Hotel in New York City? We have the information. This is the new world. You're seeing it here. This is the new world of customer service. And what does this agent simply have to do now? We've got the Twitter conversation. How about we reach into the knowledge base and extract that same knowledge article that we just produced with Chatter inside of our company, grab it out of the knowledge base, and attach it to this case. But as many of you know, you don't have an email address on Twitter, and you don't have a telephone or cell phone number on Twitter. You've just got a Twitter ID. So all we have to do now is check this knowledge article and send tweet, a new capability that we released last year with Salesforce for Twitter. As part of the Service Cloud, you can now send a tweet, an answer, and attach a knowledge article, close out a customer case right from within the Service Cloud, and your customer receives the information in real time on Twitter. As soon as we say send, the information goes from the Service Cloud to Twitter and out to Dan Benson no matter where he is. The entire conversation is logged inside of Salesforce in the Service Cloud. Dell now has an entire record that this conversation happened. But what does our customer see? Dan Benson. Can we see his screen again? Dan Benson is out on Twitter, and that's where he expects his response. In real time, what we can see here on the screen is that Dell is responding to Dan Benson. And the great thing is, not only will this be reflected on Twitter, there it is. Not only will this be reflected on Twitter, and of course Dan Benson gets his customer issue solved, but the main thing is everybody now who's following Dan Benson across the web, everyone who's following him on Twitter, now knows that Dell is delivering modern day and next generation customer service. So this is really, again, the future of collaboration, collaborative customer service, as Alex was mentioning. And now, to bring back up our next customer, I'd like to welcome Mark back on stage. Thank you.